So the hate comments on the Luca the Fresco video, one of them was that I should never do a fashion video again. Noted, but fuck you. I'm going to do a clothing video, but this isn't fashion. This is sportswear. And this is a video I said I was going to do back in July, but never got around to doing it, so I'm doing it now. This is the video on retro sportswear and retro sports brands, because this is something that excites me in the clothing world. The rise of these clothing brands that were popular 20 years ago went underground and no one saw them for years, because a few of these brands you haven't seen for years that are now coming back up. And to be honest, you can't really pick. I couldn't really go through a whole list of every retro sports brand, remember them all, and then pick a top 5. I'll admit, that one did come through my head, but I rejected that idea. So again, I'm going to be lazy and do it off an article. I'll put the article in the link below, link to the article in the description below, if I remember. But quite a few of these brands I'm excited to see come back, so I'll give you my opinions on these brands and why I'm actually excited to see these back, and what I want, and if I want something from these, what I want. So this is from Fashion Beans, and like I said, I'll put a link in the description below. So we'll start with Champion, and for those who don't know what Champion is, if you're too young to remember, Champion I think had in the 90s the contract to provide the NBA uniforms, and now currently that's with Adidas, or Adidas, however you pronounce it. But somehow they've slipped out of the mainstream and now they're on the way back. This is one of the brands that I'm not really excited for, because I'll openly admit I was never a big fan of Champion when it on its first popularity run in the 90s. But if they bring out some really nice stuff, I'll probably buy it. However, their Champion hoodie is something I want to actually own, and will probably be on my list, and has been on my list of things to buy in the last year or so, but I can never find it for a cheap price. On to Elise, however you pronounce it, Italian sportswear brand, and this actually came up in the popularity in the mid-90s. This brand came in popular at the same time as Lecoq Sportif and Kappa, then suddenly died off about the same time these two brands died off as well. It's like the three companies' popularity were mixed within each other. But again, I've seen that this actually is a popular brand that I've seen re-emerge in the last 3 to 4 years. In the last 3 to 4 years, this brand has come back, and it was thanks to Bank Clothing, which is a British clothes shop that's now defunct. They went into administration 2 years ago and never recovered. But Bank got their hands on it. It became quite popular in like shabby nightclubs. Then TK Maxx got their hands on it, and teen chavs started wearing it, and I've seen it on a lot of teen chavs. Why? This is actually a brand that excites me because, one, their track jackets are actually really nice. They do some really nice navy ones, and I've seen a few on Casual 80s, and if you've been watching this channel for a while, you will know that I buy trainers from 80s Casual Classics, because they've got like Feli and LS and stuff, and they're really nice trainers. You know, I've bought a pair of trainers from them before, but yeah, I'm excited for this because the track jackets are nice and the trainers are nice. But it's one of these things of, it's a retro thing, it takes me back to my childhood, so I like it. Then going down to number 3, Reebok Sportif, French sports brand, and one that has, according to Complex, has been slept on for a while. And it was one of my favourite brands because it had the same aesthetic as Kappa. It had the stripes down the arms, down the stuff. Why am I excited for this one to come back? Their trainers are really nice. If you see one of my old videos, I bought a pair of Reebok Sportif trainers a few months ago, and despite being dope, they're really nice, comfortable trainers. It's not a hyped up brand either, and it's somehow like going underneath the radar, while LS and Diodora are getting all the attention along with Feli. Then we go down to number 4, Feli. And I don't even know where the Feli renaissance has come from. Yes, there was a video of Complex, sneaker shopping with Complex, where Fabulous bought a pair of tennis classics, but this one's actually a massive renaissance where I don't even know where it's come from. It's amazing, and they're doing some really dope collaborations from what I understand. So, reason why I like Feli coming back is mainly because some of their trainers, the tennis classics are a really nice trainer, the fitness classics are a really nice trainer, their track jackets are quite nice. Granted, I don't own one, but it's nice, it's up there. It's mainly their trainers I'm excited about. I think we're on to number 5, Reebok. Oh yes, Reebok. And what is there not to say about Reebok at this current time in history? Reebok was taken over by Adidas in 2009, 2010, maybe 2012, somewhere in that time period, and they had disappeared, and mainly because that was the hype of the Adidas, the Jordans and stuff, that the basketball shoes just went. But 2 years ago, I noticed Reebok's making a comeback, and it was their trainers. And it's the Reebok pumps have kind of pushed Reebok back into the mainstream, because Adidas are re-releasing those great classic 90s basketball shoes, the Questions, the Shack Attacks, the pumps, all the trainers with the pumps, and it's no longer looking like that running brand for middle class people at the gym. Kind of like Skechers is now. But the thing that excites me about Reebok is, one, their clothes are actually quite nice. Their hoodies are nice. Their t-shirts are nice. It somehow managed to drop the chav label it had 10 years ago, and it's coming out with releasing great retro basketball shoes like the Shack Attack, like the Kamikaze, like the Answer, and hopefully it's going to keep on doing that. Number 6, 7. Number 6, Saucony. And I can't even remember Saucony's being popular until now, really. And I'm guessing this was probably like 70s, 80s. And this has mainly become big because runners are becoming popular. This is becoming probably because it's seen as an alternative to New Balance. who do not bad runners, but aesthetically I don't think they're as nice as some of the Adora's runners are Saucony's runners. Saucony does really nice looking runners from what I've seen online, what I've seen from other YouTube videos. And the thing that really excites me is that they do really nice runners. I just need to get around to that point where I want some Saucony trainers, but I've yet to buy some. But there will hopefully be some of those coming in future videos. Then let's go down to Kappa. Kappa's biggest popularity stint was 1996 to 1998. They had about a year and a bit of being popular because they were new, they were fresh. The design of the logo going down the strip, down the arm, well, it became popular because it was new, and it became like the sports fashion. Then Umbro decided to follow them, and Puma did it on football shirts, but suddenly they slipped off the map and no one heard from them for ages. TK Maxx managed to get a few items in here and there. I managed to pick up a red Kappa jacket in TK Maxx in Wolverhampton for like £8. But that was it for like 15 years. They've come back now mainly because football teams are getting their kits supplied by Kappa after years of having Macron, which, by the way, don't buy any Macron football kits if you like quality. I've had a Leeds kit, and within a year the sponsorship print had started to peel off, and I've heard a lot of bad stories about Macron kits. However, back to Kappa. Kappa are making nice football kits, so they're coming out and people are noticing it. Again, apart from in the football circles, they're falling a little bit under the radar. But I can imagine this is going to explode and make them big. Why do I like them? It's the logo, it's the print down the arms and the legs. Something I bizarrely really like, and that's what makes me like it. And that's why I'm excited to see them come back, because I want to own that in that like item of clothing with the logos down the arms. I know that's a terrible reason, but then finally, Umbro. And yes, I know I have an Umbro t-shirt in the t-shirt collection back there somewhere, but I wasn't a big fan of Umbro to begin with, and I can't see myself being that big a fan compared to other brands. However, Umbro are back. They're owned by Nike now, after being sold on by Sports Direct. Am I actually excited to see this company back? In a way, yes, because I want to see how they collaborate with people. Supposedly they have got a collaboration with Off-White. I think there's other collaborations in the works. I'm excited to see how Nike brings back this brand and see how it works. Asda's now collaborating with them, so that'll be interesting. And they've gone for a very 90s aesthetic, but it'll be something interesting to see how it goes. No, I'm not the biggest fan of the brand, and there are brands on this list that I prefer much more, but it'll be interesting to see what they do, because this was a really popular brand and had the England kit supplier, where they supplied the England kits back in the 90s, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with this brand. I think it's going to be one of these watch these space ones, because they might blow. They might actually explode. I'm not really a big fan of the clothing, however, I think they might explode. So let's see what happens on the space. Anyway, That's a little ramble about that, and I'll see you next time. Peace.